We can all live a better story. Most of us feel like we're just kind of drifting through life, but we learned that it doesn't have to be that way. When we bootstrapped a year on a sailboat with our 5 kids, and we wrote a book about everything that we learned along the way.
In our book, 7 at Sea, people seem to find the courage to live deliberately, doing what matters most to them, and that's what we call living a better story, and that's what we talk about.
Oh man, my biggest fear was just of deep water because I'd been scared of that for over 30 years at this point already, and Erik just said, we'll stay in the boat.
I was afraid of financial ruin and public failure.
True, but we also have 5 kids, so I was also concerned about injury, illness, death, school, friends, our community,
Death.
leaving our home behind.
Death.
And we'd only taken 1 sailing class at this point, and everyone got seasick. I wasn't sure we could even pull this off.
And also, in truth, there's never a good time to do something like this. There's never enough money. And we knew that once our kids grew up and started to leave home, this window of opportunity would close.
Yeah.
Now was the time. So we knew all the reasons this was a bad idea. We knew everything that could go wrong, but we decided to flip that and ask ourselves, what could go right? And that was really compelling. On the one hand, our kids could be an excuse not to do this, or they could be the reason to do this. And once we made that flip as well, we asked ourselves what could go right, we turned our excuses into reasons, and we got to work. After a scary 5-day crossing that included lightning storm, doldrum winds, and a reef that almost prevented us from anchoring, we finally made landfall in the southern Bahamas. And we gathered up as a family on a beach around this fire, and I said to Emily and the kids, I can't believe we made it this far. And that became a little bit of a joke between us because I had tried so hard to plan every leg of this journey in advance and learned the hard way that that is just not possible. I learned that sometimes you just have to let it emerge and trust in our ability to solve problems as they arise and be adaptable and figure things out as they come, and just learn that we can't know everything before we start. Sometimes we just have to start.
Well, going through challenges together is a great way to bond, and we went through a lot of challenging experiences as a family. We're not perfect, but we are resilient. I'll just compare from the beginning towards the end. In the beginning, we arrived in St. Martin, and our plan was just to get our boat, get our upgrades, and get out. Our destination was the Virgin Islands, 80 miles away, and we were itchy to get moving. However, things didn't go according to plan. Our engine had some trouble, and it took about 3 months to fix it, and we had a bad case of destination fever. And we realized that our destination may have been the Virgin Islands, but our goal was spending time together, creating memories as a family, and we could do that right where we were. So we began to block out some time every single day to spend together as a family, and that effort really paid off in the long run because as we went through different experiences together, beautiful and difficult, we were able to really form a strong team with a lot of good open communication and shared experiences. So fast forward 9 months into our journey, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and our 17-year-old daughter hears water rushing under the floorboards near her cabin. It's not supposed to happen like that. Our boat was slowly sinking. Well, the whole team sprang into action. All 3 teenagers hopped out of bed, and not only did they help bail water to save our sinking ship, but they were singing while they did it. So this sailing trip really galvanized our family. I would love to visit Japan because one of our daughters has lived there for 1.5 years and she loves it.
And I want to go to Patagonia because there's a big cliff there that I want to climb, and that's something that I like to do.
Well, worry is when we take all the power of our imagination and throw it into considering everything that could possibly go wrong. And wonder is when we take all that same power of imagination and harness it to consider all the possible solutions and think about what could go right. Wonder is a lot more fun.
When we were crossing from the Bahamas to the US, the Gulf Stream slowly carried us north. And there was no way we could tell just from looking around us that we were actually drifting north. However, this happens all the time in life. There are unseen influences that are carrying us in a direction we may not intend. And these can be cultural influences, these can be professional pressures, or simply family traditions that just take us somewhere other than we're trying to go. And so the longer we live, the faster time moves. If there's somewhere we want to go, we need to, one, pick a destination, chart a course, be aware of these influences, factor them in, and get moving.
Most people feel like they're kind of drifting through life, and we learned from our own experience that it doesn't have to be like that.
Now that we have tools that have helped us, we share those with other people to help them find their own confidence to live deliberately and do what matters most to them.
So they can live a better story.